Welcome to Raise Nation Radio, the podcast for nonprofit movers, shakers, and change makers. We're here to fuel your passion with a daily dose of fundraising inspiration while keeping the conversations and connections from the annual Raise Conference alive all year long. Tune in for fresh perspectives, bold strategies, and the hottest trends lighting up the nonprofit world. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, buckle up. Each episode is packed with lively discussions, expert insights, and creative solutions to help you make an even bigger impact. Now get ready for another exciting episode. Please welcome your host from One Cause, Dawn Lego.
Well, hello, Raise Nation. Welcome back. I'm Dawn Lego. I'm your host today. So glad you're joining us. And thank you for making the show a fan favorite. We are cresting on 200 episodes, and it's a great milestone, but it's because of all of you and our wonderful community. If you are here with us for the first time, well, a very warm Raise Nation hello and welcome. Let's get started. I am super excited to welcome back our guest. She doesn't really need an introduction. She's so famous in this space. You all know her, you love her, but we're going to talk about something new that includes octopuses, if you could imagine. I will make sure that we connect the dots for you. But please welcome back to Raise Nation, Mallory Erickson. Hi, Mallory. How are you?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here and so good to see you, Dawn. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to chat.
Yeah, it's always great to have you on Raise Nation. Let's how's motherhood treating you? And you look glowing.
It's good. It's good. You know, we had our first real summer this summer. Kindergarten ended. So we had our first camp juggle. So I feel like school has been back in session now for 10 days. So the glow is actually routine, I think maybe.
Okay.
That re-hit our house. But yeah, no, it's wonderful.
Kindergarten. Did you say kindergarten? Why do I remember little baby and now kindergarten?
Yes. So Isla's 2 and Emmy's 6. So she just started first grade. So I've got two little wild ones at this point.
Good for you. Well, all right. I know you on a personal level, so I had to ask that, but why don't you just say hello to our audience? If there's one or two out there that maybe haven't heard of Mallory Erickson, can't believe that that's possible. Just, tell us, give us the tea. Who's Mallory Erickson? What are you doing these days? And introduce yourself to Raise Nation again.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, so my name is Mallory Erickson. I have spent my entire career in the nonprofit sector. I, honestly started working and volunteering when I was 8 in organizations and always knew I'd end up here, and then became an accidental fundraiser as I started to get promoted up through nonprofits in my adult years, and really was very uncomfortable fundraising. And hit a very serious burnout moment where I thought I needed to leave the sector, and ended up having this incredible combination of life experiences where I was certified as an executive coach, trained in habit and behavior design and design thinking, that fundamentally changed the way that I fundraised and how much I raised, but also how I felt raising money. And then I started to love fundraising. And since that moment, all I wanted to do was share with other people the tools and strategies that were life-changing for me. And so I've spent the last 5 years in particular really focused on improving the lives of fundraisers by helping them understand the relationship between how they feel and what they do. And my latest sort of tool that I've been focused on in order to do this is Practivated, which launched earlier this year. And it is a conversation simulation tool that allows fundraisers to practice donor conversations in a safe, private, judgment-free environment. We use generative AI to make those conversations fully contextualized so that they feel real. And then we have a coach inside the platform, Tivi, who helps give you feedback and grow. And you have sort of an on-demand coach that you can go to with any challenge that you're facing in your fundraising work.
Wow. All right. We're going to peel back the layers of the onion, because I have no idea what you just said, a simulator communicate, okay, I'm lost. But before I do, I want to just thank you. So much gratitude for you being vulnerable, because I think where you once were in life is where a lot of fundraisers are today. A lot of leaders are today. They have a strong commitment and passion to their cause, but it could be an easy trap to fall into not loving what you're doing,
Mhm.
right? And so thank you so much for just being vulnerable, being that voice, you know, seeing other people that are there, helping them feel seen, and then just being so committed to the tools and practices that are going to help them overcome because we're really in this together. So gratitude to you for that. Not too many people even want to admit it, let alone do something about it. So Tivi, is Tivi the octopus?
Yes, Tivi's the
I'm putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Okay, now Practivated is what?
okay.
Communication what?
Okay, so it is a practice role play environment. But
Okay.
so like you might sit down with a peer, although nobody wants to, or a coach
So
and
awkward,
so
right?
awkward. And role play a donor conversation before you go into the meeting, right? Like sometimes this happens with your whole team where you're going through and putting together the
Or
structure
in
and
the shower when you're washing your hair, right? Like you have a
totally,
donor meeting that day and you're on fire in the shower, but then you
totally.
walk into the meeting and it's like, what happened from my bathroom to here, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I get it. I got
Yeah.
it.
So, as a coach and a consultant in this space, I felt like this was the one area of nonprofit
Brilliant.
like support that I couldn't provide as an individual. I couldn't be with my clients before every single donor meeting. I couldn't go through every single donor meeting with them and role play and practice how they said a certain thing. How did they learn X about the donor in order to make this connection? Like every conversation is so unique, so different. No, it's not the same as like practicing a pitch where, you're going to go into a pitch competition, you have 2 minutes, you're going to say it the same every single time, or even like a speaking gig. Donor conversations are flexible and collaborative, and the best ones are really connected. And in order to be really connected, you have to drop the script, right? You have to be in that moment, in that conversation, building a real relationship. And this is really hard when we're stressed and when we
Or
feel
when your mission is counting on it, right?
100%, the pressure is on, right?
Uh-huh.
And so these conversations feel so high stakes. And then you combine that with the fact that it's often the first time you're saying a lot of these things. It's like a lot of what's happening between the shower and the room is that you didn't actually say those things out loud. And I learned a few years ago from this woman, Heather Sager, who's like a speech coach. She was talking about how the way we actually hear things in our head is totally different than when
Oh,
we say them
really?
out loud. It's not because she really tries to get people to practice their speeches out loud. She was like, it's just not the same. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't have that same muscle memory to it. It doesn't it just doesn't translate basically in the brain. And so what Practivated is a technology environment where people can go into it by themselves and they can create an avatar. And that avatar is the donor that they are going to have a meeting with, or we have a library of different avatars and experiences. And then they just click start, and the donor says, "Hi, Mallory, how are you doing today?" And you have a full
Oh,
on.
it's a talking avatar.
Yes, it's all voice conversation, and it lets you really practice that meeting from end to end. But I think the best thing about it, I mean, the practice, the warming up, the like conversation, all of that is so important. But then you get feedback. And we give you feedback on 16 different indicators of a successful donor conversation. And inside each indicator, you know how you did, what we noticed, what you could do better. And so I think, we've all had as fundraisers these experiences where we've like left a donor meeting and we've been like, wow, I like flubbed that. But why did we flub it? Like something felt wrong, right? Something felt disconnected, something felt disingenuous, but we're like, we don't know what we did wrong. We certainly don't know how to do it better next time. And we really like, that was, what caused my burnout was I was just like this, I don't feel like an embodied version of myself, but I don't know how to make it better. And so what we really try to do at those 16 indicators is say like, hey, you actually did great on blank, blank, blank. Like you're a natural when it comes to X, Y, and Z. But you didn't ask any questions. So your insight gathering score is quite low. And here's some places in the conversation where like another question or a deeper question would have really made a difference. And so we really try to help them like identify and then build on that experience. And last thing I'll say, because I know I'm going on and on, is this is something, the thing that I'm so proud of with Practivated is this is really something that a human coach cannot do. I think I'm a pretty good coach. I could never, ever listen to
And for the record, you're an outstanding coach, but okay, I'll let you finish that thought.
Look, I could never listen to a 10-minute donor conversation and score a fundraiser on 16 indicators immediately, and then tell them exactly why they got that score on that indicator and exactly what to say differently to improve that area of the meeting. Like, that is something that really only is possible with generative AI. I'm not somebody who's like AI for everything, and I do not like to pretend like AI is a silver bullet, but there are some applications of generative AI that just were impossible before and a human can never do. And those are the ones that I'm particularly excited about. And I love that we're able to do this for our clients. And I use this in my own coaching practice, even though it's a different business. I'm sending my clients in there all the time.
Yeah. I love it. I have so many questions. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure where to begin. First, I got to ask, where did the idea come from?
So there were like a few things that sort of happened simultaneously. One was that I kept having meetings with funders and they kept saying the same thing. I don't feel like a fundraiser is really listening to me in the meeting. Or they said, no fundraiser has ever asked me about blank, or I would have given this organization $1 million instead of $100,000, but they just really couldn't uncover the alignment between me and them.
Ooh, ouch.
Right. And I kept thinking about this and I kept thinking that, and I remember saying to a funder once, like, I can't imagine how frustrating and hard it is to not feel heard in a meeting like that. Also, just so you know, it's happening because they're really stressed. Because when they're stressed, when our fear is online, when that survival brain is online, it actually shuts down our capacity to really hear other people, to really listen.
I get that.
Connected moment. And so I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to support fundraisers through this. Like, how do I help them be more confident and embodied and clear in these donor meetings so that they really can be open to connection, right? We're like, oh, I want to connect with my donors. But oftentimes it's us that isn't open to connection because we're so stressed and in so much fear. And then we can't figure out why we can't build that connection. The other thing that made me build this was that a few years ago, I sent an email to my list asking people how many more donor meetings they wanted to have a week. There were a bunch of different options. The number one response was 1. The number 2 response was 0. And for years, I've been thinking about that. Why don't we want to have more donor meetings? All the people who are on my list, like, they want to raise more money, but they want to do it without more conversations. And that is impossible.
Right.
And I think it's fear driven, right? It's like we can say, oh, my calendar is already too full. But I think the real reason we avoid those meetings is because they're scary.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense.
And
but
who wants to feel rejected, right?
Of course. Although
Right.
if you go into Practivated, we have a practice simulation, a rejection practice simulation. You can literally go in there and just get rejected over and over again and figure out what you say after someone says no and like how to come back from it and how to still build the relationship.
I want to play in Practivated. Oh my God, that's cool. I'm going to ask a hard question though. I'm sure you thought of it, but when you're in a donor meeting, you're just not sure what those responses are going to be, right? And you need to be prepared. You need to read the room. You're nervous. It's hard to read the room. You just don't know. Maybe your new building, your donor's not going to be aligned with, or you just don't know. There's so many twists and turns, and you kind of have to be prepared in that like hot second moment to, I wasn't expecting this. I have to regroup, say that, remember all the different things. How does Practivated get you ready for those random curveballs?
Well, we do have a practice scenario that's called Wild Card, and it's a
Wild Card
all over the place and just like jumps around to every question you never expected. We also, when you set up a custom avatar, you can put in information. It's not private information about the donor, but you can put in parts of their like, what you know about them and their identity that get the question.
And you should know some things, right?
Yes.
You should have enough to build a strong donor, because then you're not doing
Yes.
Yeah, you should know your avatar.
We hear from people a lot like, wow, the questions in the actual meeting were exactly what came up in practice.
Wow.
So I think we try to do a really good job of like having it be as likely as possible. But the other thing is, I would think about this with any other type of practice, right? LeBron James is going into a basketball game. He doesn't know exactly what the other team is going to do every move, but they practice all these different scenarios so that they have a bunch of muscle memory related to a bunch of scenarios so that
Fair.
when they go into the game, they just have more of those skills and they are more confident because they've run through a bunch of scenarios. So I think both of those things. And then we have one of the indicators is like decision making under pressure. So we definitely measure and give feedback on how the fundraiser did in the conversation when they were thrown maybe a curveball or with a question that they didn't know, because it's okay. Like maybe I just want to say this. It's okay to not know every question a donor is going to ask you in the meeting. In fact, I kind of love it when it happens in a donor meeting because it gives me the perfect next touch point. At the end of the meeting, I'll say something like when they ask me a question, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. I have some ideas, but I actually want to like talk to my team a little bit and get some more clarity here. And then at the end of the meeting, I'll say, hey, want to put a catch up session on the calendar in like 2 weeks.
Brilliant.
20 minutes. I'm going to get that answer for you. I want to come back and talk to you about it in real time. Like, should we just look at calendars real quickly and get that on the schedule? So,
Brilliant.
love it. Like, and I think if fundraisers go into the meeting being asked a question I don't know the answer to is like chef's kiss moment for me.
Yes,
You know?
yes, I see that
It
now.
can just like really reframe, like, but we're going in and we're like, oh, I don't know enough, or maybe I'm not going to be good enough, or it's like all those tender vulnerabilities that then push us into that perfectionism of I need to know how to answer everything perfectly. And it's like, you actually don't. You just need to be in a real connected conversation for people to walk away from it feeling great.
Yeah, I get that. Wow, this is so cool. Now let me ask you, if you do have a donor meeting that didn't go well, you weren't on your A game, you forgot everything that you just rehearsed in the shower, it's not connected, can you come back to Practivated and say, okay, build an avatar, this is what you're at, and help me with, you either simulate your answers so that you can get the feedback, or say, coach me on what I could have done better, because I think that's where burnout comes in, when you've had so many rejections and you feel like you can't surmount this and do better the next time. Can you come back to Practivated in like a debrief situation?
Yeah, a lot of people use Tivi for this. So we can go in
I
and
love Tivi.
we love Tivi. So you can go have a coaching conversation with Tivi at any point, and you can actually upload a document to Tivi that you want her to know in the conversation. So if you had a transcript, for example, from the conversation, you could upload that. Tivi would absorb that knowledge and you go into the coaching session with her and she'd be able to see what was said, like if it was a Zoom call or something like that and it happened to be recorded, or you just go in and you say, here's what happened. Like, I don't know exactly, and she'll coach you right through it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so why the octopus and why Tivi? How'd Tivi get his name? I don't know if it's a male or female octopus, but how'd the name come about and why the octopus?
Yeah, so Tivi is for Practivated. We wanted to take a part of the name and create an identity around that.
Practivate.
Yeah. And I just thought it was really cute.
Is it male or female, or
by she, they, her voice is like the voice that we loved the most was female, and so that we refer to her as she for those reasons, so people can help identify what we're talking about. But the octopus was honestly something that we were going through this branding piece and we were getting all these logos from the company and none of them were right. And one day I was like, okay, I've had this thing on my brain forever. Like, what about an octopus? And everybody was like, yes.
Mic drop.
Yes. And,
she's really cute. We need plush Tivis.
I know. Don't you worry.
Please, I want a plush Tivi.
She's so cute. I mean, we wanted a coach in there who was not me. right, who had their own identity, because we want this.
Well, a Mallory coach would be cute too, but okay.
We wanted it to not be so tied to like me. And an octopus, there's so many pieces of an octopus that I think resonate with fundraisers. Like, they're so smart, they're really protective, they are, the hands can do a million things at once. Like, there's just they're flexible.
That's where my mind went. Yeah.
Yeah. They're flexible and agile, but strong. Like, I don't know what it was, but something about the octopus, I was just like, this is
Drawn to it.
And I've been a big fan of Duolingo for a long time and what they've built with their brand. And they have a mascot, Duo, their owl. Just Duo is like this character that people form a relationship with, really. And I wanted something
I
like
love
that.
Tivi already.
Yeah, I know. And I love that so much. And then I'll just say like one like kind of quick funny stories. My sort of the coming out party for Practivated was this Get Inked campaign that we did at Icon earlier this year. And so everybody had these like ink splots everywhere.
Remember that? Yeah.
Talking about ink constantly. A few weeks before, actually, my grandmother had passed away, who I was really close to. And it had been a big thing for me. And then a few weeks after Icon, we went to her memorial, and my aunt read the eulogy that she put together for my grandma. And in the eulogy, which I had never heard this information before, it says like, she was born to her like mom and dad. Her father sold ink during the Great Depression.
No, you're kidding. Is this a true story?
100% true story.
Mallory Erickson. Oh my God. I got chills. Yes, I know. I just got chills.
And so I just feel like, I don't know, but I'm
meant to be.
Meant to be.
I like that. I believe in higher influence and the universe speaking, and oh my God, that's a heartwarming story. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to ask you, I mean, it's early on, right? You just launched this year. It's 2025 for those who's listening to this episode. It's August of 2025. But any success stories yet? Any feedback? Anybody like, oh my God, Mallory, game changer, right? Tell us about that.
I mean, I think it's been so amazing to watch how quickly people see success. We had like just how they feel, their confidence. We've heard about the way it's impacting team fundraising culture, like the way it's changing their fundraising meetings when they have, a team of folks using it. I mean, we heard, we watched in the tool, like Ask Effectiveness is one of the indicators. We watched an organization in their first month, their team of 8 fundraisers improved Ask Effectiveness by 33%. We watched them improving, navigating tension and feedback. And I think just hearing about the confidence, we've heard that, okay, they do a warm-up thank you call in Practivated, and that gets them over the action line to just start calling donors, and just all these moments of resistance. And then I have one funny story. So we have brought in a higher ed institution, and there was one person in the org who wasn't really using Practivated that much compared to their peers. Their peers were all over it, and it looked like getting so much value, and I was nervous about this one fundraiser. So I was literally about to email him and be like, hey, just checking in that like everything's working on your end, that you're seeing value. I just want to make sure everything is okay. Before I could get my email out to him, I get an email from his boss saying, so-and-so just raised $5,000 in a donor meeting thanks to Practivated.
Wow. Love that story.
On the way to the meeting. And so it was like the 10 minutes that he had used the platform changed that one meeting. And I think for me, that is, I don't believe in like kind of quick wins, like where we pretend like, oh, you can raise $100,000 with this brand new shiny thing. I think what's really special about Practivated is that it's about bringing out the best in you, which is already inside you. So that's what makes like success and wins so quick, is like, it's you. And figuring out how you say the thing in your best way, tailored to your voice, that's going to build the best relationship with you. And I'm just so thrilled.
Best version of yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. I was going to ask you, and we're kind of out of time, but we'll have to pick it up in a part 2, I think. But I was going to ask about the whole AI and replacing. But I think you just answered a question that I didn't even ask, that this is using AI just to bring you out and make you the best version of yourself. And it's really not replacing anything, but we'll have to hold that for
Yeah.
a part 2 of the conversation for sure.
I do say all the time, like, we are AI to improve human connection. The goal of Practivated is to improve our capacity, support our capacity to connect more deeply with other humans.
Yeah.
It is never to replace human
Right.
connection.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Well, I'm glad we fit that in there at the end. So I want to thank you because you're going to be at Raise.
Yeah.
You are part of our Navigator Circle community, which really celebrates smaller consultants and startups. And, they need a home too, right? It can't always just be about, the big, companies, in the world. We need a home for everyone. So Raise was happy to have that home. We created this Navigator Circle sponsorship, and you're one of our sponsors. So thank you for your support of Raise. You're speaking at Raise, right, this year.
Yes.
Real quick, what is your topic? What is your session title?
I'm going to talk about, well, I can never remember my exact session title, but I'm talking about how to build connected relationships at events and beyond. So yeah, it's going to be great. I'm so grateful for Raise, for y'all having me, for bringing me on here, getting to do all of this with you. I'm so grateful for the way y'all show up and support this community. So
thank you. I mean, we really appreciate your support. We couldn't be Raised without the great thought leaders and your sponsorship. And I'm going to be first in line for a plush Tivi. And I just can't wait to see Practivated in action and everything that it's going to do. It's a game changer for sure. It's exactly what we need. And you know what? It's the right time too.
Mm-hmm.
I think burnout is at an all-time high. Always a pleasure, Mallory. Always really just such a pleasure. Can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. But for our audience, that's a wrap for today's show. I know you want more of Mallory, but come to Raise, catch all of her sessions, visit Practivated. We're going to put all the links in the show notes. Maybe you can get a plush Tivi too. But a big thank you to Mallory Erickson, and to each of you for tuning in. You're all the heartbeat of this community. Your voices, your experience make Raise Nation just uniquely inspiring. So don't be a stranger. Join us on the show, share your story, and let's continue to build this incredible community together. Until next time, you stay fearless, keep raising the nation. And Mallory Erickson, thank you so much. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Fearless Fundraisers, that's a wrap for today. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their stories, insights, and expertise. And to you, our fantastic audience, for everything you do to build brighter tomorrows in our communities. We hope today's content inspires you to amplify your mission and grow your impact. Don't forget to join us for new episodes every Thursday, wherever you listen to your podcasts, or catch us on YouTube and on demand at onecause.com. And before we go, we'd love your help in growing this podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, and subscribe to Raise Nation Radio. Share it with a friend, and please leave us a review so we can continue delivering content that inspires and empowers. Raise Nation Radio is produced in partnership with One Cause, your go-to for digital fundraising solutions that connect nonprofits with their donors and drive results. Visit onecause.com or scan the QR code to schedule a one-to-one with their fundraising experts and explore the latest tools and innovations to help you reach more and raise more. Plus, be sure to check out their extensive catalog of free resources to support your mission. All the links are in the show notes. Raise Nation Radio is inspired by the annual Raise Conference, presented by One Cause. We'd love to see you in person at the next Raise event in September. It's a 2-day experience featuring over 35 CFRE accredited sessions, dynamic speakers, and the latest innovations from our sponsor pavilion, and priceless networking opportunities. And while you're there, don't miss the Fearless Fundraiser Party. It's where memories are made and lifelong friendships are formed. Secure your spot today at onecause.com/raise. The link is also in the show notes. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay fearless.